What do you demand of yourself, and what do you demand of your future? That's my question of you. A lot of people, they just don't demand that much of themselves. As the Pygmalion effect states, we are either rising or falling to the demands of not only our situation, but of our identity. And if your identity demands that you reach a certain financial situation, if your identity demands that you get to a certain place so that you can do something very important, when the why is strong enough, you'll find the how. If you don't demand much of yourself, you're not going to get much of yourself. You're going to have a weak identity. You're going to have a weak purpose. You're going to be weak in the present unless you demand a lot of yourself. If you're clear on your future and you demand a lot of yourself, then your present will be spent usefully. Your present will be spent consciously. Your present will be spent powerfully stretching towards a purpose. As Viktor Frankl said, what man needs is not a tensionless state. What man needs is the striving and struggling for a worthwhile goal, a freely chosen task. That's the great part about all this. You don't discover your future self. You don't find your future self. You have to choose it. It's a freely chosen task. You are an agent, a free agent. You get to choose ultimately what you do with yourself. You get to choose the future that you ultimately direct your future, you direct your present towards. You have to choose. If you don't choose, indecision is a decision. And so ultimately, it's not a tensionless state that you need. It's the striving and struggling for a worthwhile goal. That's how you live a good present. Without that, you're wasting your time. Without that, you're fading away. Without that, you're ultimately distracted and being steered by endless mazes of other people's agendas. So you have to fix your mind on what you want. You've got to make that your new identity. You've got to then fully own it at some point. You eventually get to the point where you own it by first starting as an amateur and then getting to the point where you conceive and believe it. And then at some point you just say, this is the only reality I'm going for. I'm going for it. I don't care what other people think. This is my new narrative. This is what I'm going for. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed of my future self. I'm no longer ashamed of my true goals and ambitions. This is who I am now, and I'm not hiding it from anyone. And then your behavior aligns with your future self. And then you quickly create the results you want.